Meet Greg and Gertrude, the stars of Con-nection, a social deduction game where they must figure out who's family and who's trying to scam them.
Another scam call. Told them I've been retired longer than you've been alive, Sonny.
Sweet apple pie, that's 'cause you're older than the hills.
Careful, Greg. I keep your hearing aids battery stocked.
Fair point. Now anyone can step into our shoes in Cost of Connection, a game where you figure out who's lying and who's on your side. You might play as us, a cute old couple trying to keep our savings safe.
Greg and Gertrude have information cards. These have everything they know about themselves and their family members. Between them, 2 helping hand cards are drawn, which can be used for assistance after the call phase. Each of them have 1 sticky note they can write on to keep track of every caller. The rest of the players can
Be a scammer, sweet talking your way into a retirement fund.
Or play as family, asking for a little favor of their own.
Once everyone's roles are settled and the game enters a call phase, each person has a 2-minute call with Greg and Gertrude. They roleplay according to their role cards and prompt cards, while holding the phone tokens to physically indicate that they are calling. Family member role cards have information about the respective family member and the grandparents. Meanwhile, scammer role cards have limited information about one family member and potentially skewed facts about Greg and Gertrude. After taking all calls, the grandparents have 1 minute to discuss privately which caller gets money.
Where's our twist? Impaired hearing. Good luck catching the scammers when you can't hear half the conversation.
After payments have been made, callers reveal their identities and narrative cards are drawn based on their performance. This game is more than just fun. The overall aim is to demonstrate the factors that make grandparent scams so prevalent. Well, what are grandparent scams? Grandparent scams are defined as scams that scammers impersonate family members or someone the older adult victim knows. Issues of scammers targeting older adults' vulnerabilities, like conditions and disabilities that can show with age, became our main focus. Low financial and technological literacy is a large part of why older adults are more susceptible to scams. Because technological literacy was hard to simulate with our target players, we chose to focus on the cognitive aspects that can hinder older adults' ability to reason and spot scams. Our game framing also becomes a commentary for young adults to connect more with their grandparents. Inspired by real-life experiences where it is common for grandparents to say to their children and grandchildren, "You should come visit more," or "Don't forget to call me from time to time." We wanted to capture this isolation through not only the narrative backstory of Greg and Gertrude, introduced at the very beginning of the game, but also the sensory isolation that is experienced when playing as the grandparents. This is made possible with players' hearing being suppressed through headphones and earbuds playing loud music. While the large amounts of family details that are given to the elderly couple highlights the overwhelm and confusion of those who experience challenges in memory. In the end, depending on how well the players perform, they will either celebrate or feel betrayed after reflecting and reading their narrative cards that complete Greg and Gertrude's story. The people fun comes with the hilarity of the different miscommunications between players conversing and role-playing. With the perk of role-playing and creating stories, many of our playtests resulted in some of our most favorite reactions and quotes. We knew we were on the right track after this comment from an observer of our first playtesting session. 95% of players absolutely loved playing our game and would definitely play again. In our initial version, each scammer had a name and a backstory of how they got into scamming, as we wanted to highlight the opposite perspective of this issue. However, we wanted to put our focus on the family members and their information to express the narrative better and to avoid potentially validating the act of scamming. Part of the feedback given was that the stakes were not high enough for the players and that the character relationships were not clear. In order to resolve this, we implemented narrative cards to show the aftermath of everyone's decisions and to showcase the effect on Greg and Gertrude.
We don't always get it right. Our memory ain't the same, and it's hard to tell who's on our side.
Will scam style you up, or really stay sharp and keep the con artists on hold?
Just promise, win or lose, don't forget to call your grandparents. We may not be sharp, but we miss you.
Am I supposed to notice him? Wow.
Grandpa! Psst.
Oh,
I don't know.
911.